time to see what's got Britain talking about. We've got the lovely Kate Quilton
making it this morning debut,
which is very exciting. Welcome to the team. Joined by the lovely Leo the Lion, Gyles. Good morning to both of you.
When I was a little boy, Lenny the Lion was a character on television, and I loved him. Not quite as much as you've taken me on a trip down memory lane as I loved in the 1950s Muffin the Mule. Do you remember Muffin the Mule? Here comes Muffin, everybody sing. Dear
I don't remember it. I remember the song.
Muffin the Mule. You knew Dobbin the Donkey. That's a different story altogether. Muffin the Mule was a wonderful childhood character introduced by Annette Mills on television. She sat at the piano and the mule danced around on the piano. It was a puppet on strings.
Oh, yes.
And you could actually see the strings, but you still believed it was a real character.
Oh, well, those were the days.
Those were the days.
Just say, did you talk about the outfits today? Because you're probably matching.
We had a little chat last night, didn't we, Charles?
We
Got
did.
the memo. Dressing sunshine? Yes, that is the brief. Bringing it.
Oh, it's lovely to have you, Kate. It's really lovely.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Chuck Kate straight under the bus and talk about Partygate. Okay.
Is it still talking about that?
Well, yeah, so the police have now concluded their investigation. So they spent £460,000 on the investigations. Obviously, some people think that's due diligence. Some people think it's an outrageous waste of resources. But now we still have the Sugray report to come out. So what happened? Has that kind of stolen Sugray's thunder in many ways? What happens now? What do you think of it?
Well, I mean, in the papers today, we're being told that's it. He's paid his fine, it's over, and the message from the Tories very much is we should all move on. I mean, we've heard too much about this. I, however, though, feel like a lot of people out there, I mean, Ipsos Mori did a survey, and it's the case that the majority of the British population feel like he should resign.
Yeah, why doesn't he resign? Why do you think he doesn't?
I mean, he's holding on. I mean, he's tenacious.
Definitely.
Giles, do you think he's just kind of trying to ride the wave and then hopefully...
And he will ride the wave. He's ridden the wave so far. I've sat here over the months watching people, some of them foaming at the mouth because people who don't like Boris really don't like him. They feel the whole thing was absolute scandal. They keep saying, quite rightly, that there they were unable to visit dying relatives in hospital, and there they were partying in Downing Street. It's outrageous. He made the rules. He broke the rules. He should go. But actually, what has now happened is that he's paid a fine, a fixed penalty notice, and the police have concluded their investigation. There will be this report from a senior civil servant where she will castigate certain people. She wants to name people she hasn't yet named or been able to name, probably senior civil servants. There will be a brouhaha next week, and then we will move on.
The thing is, it's not about these fines, though, is it? It's the fact that he was partying when we weren't allowed to party.
Absolutely.
We weren't allowed to see our family and friends. And he's there, in our face, doing it in front of everybody. It's out of order.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's not just partying. We all know people, we probably all know people here that had to say goodbye to loved ones over Zoom, you know?
Yeah.
And it's time for him to go because we're in this cycle now that whenever anything happens...
We're going to bring it up.
It's going to keep coming up, keep coming up, keep coming up. You know, Keir Starmer, he's saying, I will resign if I get fined.
Yeah.
That's the appropriate thing to do.
There has to be an element of hubris about it.
This is the rights and wrongs of it. I'm just going to tell you about the politics of it. And I'm going to remind you that Tony Blair once gave me a card that he'd been given when he became Prime Minister, which said, stay standing up. It had been given to him by the security forces. They said, if ever there's an accident, if ever you're knocked over, get up. If you're standing, we can help you. And he kept this card as a reminder to him of that's what you need in politics. Stay standing up. The wind blows over you. The storm goes over you. If you can stay standing, you'll still be standing when the storm is over. And that is the philosophy of the Prime Minister.
Wow.
You may not like it. I'm just giving you the real politics of it. And I rather suspect he has stayed standing so far, and you will find him standing several months down the road. And given what is going on in the world, given the horror of Ukraine, given this looming cost of living crisis, which is now beginning to bite, many people will think, and Conservative MPs, or the only people who can get rid of him, will think, actually, for the time being, we've got to stick with the team captain we've got to weather this storm.
I wonder if they'll stick with him through the next election.
That's a different matter. A year or so from now, things may be different. But I think for the moment, you'll still see him
Let's
standing
hope
there.
things are different.
let's move on to the next story, which is the lotto win.
Oh, I really want to talk about this lottery win, 184 million. And obviously, you presented the cheque. You met the couple.
Yay.
What
So
were
I
they
interviewed
like?
them yesterday.
Can I say the 10% fee you got? Absolutely.
Well done.
Because that's the condition. I took part in the lottery the first week it was introduced in 1993.
No.
And I won £5. Yay!
Which was actually,
Which was a
decent
which
amount
was
of
a
money
prize.
then.
It's a result.
So,
Are they as nice as they appear to be from the photos?
I mean, I met them yesterday, so I do a little bit of work with the guys that run the National Lottery Camelot and do the voiceover, and so they asked me very late the night before if I'd go down and interview them and just, you know, and essentially kind of manage the press conference because they decided they wanted to go public with.
How much did you borrow? Come on.
Did you get anything?
They
Did
offered
write
a
you
very
cheque?
favourable rate, Charles, that's what I was saying. So they were lovely, charming, incredibly down-to-earth, very humble, also very acutely aware that they're winning this amount of money at a time when a lot of people are going through sort of, you know, great hardships. So they're very down to earth. They do well, but they're living very kind of hand to mouth, and you know, in terms of the lifestyle. So you know, when you met them, you couldn't have wished for it to go to a couple of nights.
She's a hairdresser.
Yeah.
And he was a communications manager. And he's stopped that job already. She's still thinking about the hairdresser.
Yeah, it's a
she's
family business
considering
with her. So, but it was interesting. I guess let's ask you: would you have gone public with it had you won? Because what was interesting is not necessarily like they had a very good answer to this question. So I'll ask you first.
Interesting. Yeah, I would. You know, I mean, and that kind of sum of money, you can do so much good in the world with that, you know, really. And I would be looking at that sum of money and thinking, right, let's dish this out a bit.
You're a celebrity. Do you think people would look at you, go in public and think, oh, look at her, she's a celebrity, she's on the television and she's won all this money?
But
would you really go public?
Money,
be honest. Would you really go public?
Well, yeah, I would, because
Honestly.
you can change your life with 1% of that money. I mean, it's a phenomenal amount of money. You know, it's catapulted them straight into the rich list. That's generational wealth that they have acquired.
Yeah.
They could change the lives of thousands and thousands of people with that,
Yeah.
you know, and automatically look at that money and start thinking, right, how can I... You know, they can have a legacy with that kind of money. They can really transform lives.
Years ago, I met the first £1 million pools winner. And I said, what are you going to do about the begging letters? And he said, oh, I'm going to carry on sending them.
That is brilliant.
So I think if I won, it wouldn't change me at all.
Would you go public?
Would I? No, I don't think I would, actually. I don't think I would.
The thing is, so this is the rationale behind it, and it's because I always thought, why would you go public? That was the first question I wanted to ask them. And if you win an awful lot of money, life-changing amount of money, but an amount of money that you could essentially not have to go public with, so let's say £500,000, £1 million, something like that, that's a life-changing amount of money. But you can either buy a house or pay off your mortgage and put it in investments and you know, live comfortably. If you win £184 million, I mean, bear in mind that poor Joe, when he picked up this phone in the morning, and you know, you're all sort of bleary-eyed in the morning, he thought, he looked at it and thought he'd won £184,000, and he was absolutely over the moon. He couldn't quite... and then he just went, hang on a minute, what? Because obviously the amount of... He was sort of bewildered by the number.
Endless numbers.
If you win £184 million, then... If you want to include your friends and family, then you're asking everyone, and you don't want to go public, you're asking everyone to keep the secret. And it's just impossible, I think. Like, if you want to change your life.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely immediately start...
Straight on the grams, on the TikTok.
I'll be on the red carpet.
Babs.
I'll be there with Tom Cruise, Kate and Wills. I'll be with them on the red carpet.
What an amazing segue. You've done it, Hammond.
Nice. I'd literally be living it like the high life.
We had the Maverick premiere last night with Tom Cruise mixed with Kate and Wills. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this.
But I think with 184 million, you couldn't even afford to make a third Top Gun film. I don't think it's enough to make the third movie.
No, what's the budget?
Enough, though.
The budget is something like that. These films, the scale of them, So it's a lot of money, but it's not enough.
Yeah, but you get your money back. It'd be a good investment.
It would be a good investment.
Because apparently this is a really good
doesn't
film.
he look good?
Yeah, he looks really good.
I mean, honestly, that's what my wife has been saying. Well, doesn't he look good?
How old is he now?
Exactly. He's 59, and he looks fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Have a look what he said about Wills. Let's have a look.
They're gracious enough to come and support the arts, and I support them. And again, I have such respect for them and their commitment to their country, you know, and what they do. And also, he's a fellow aviator, so we have a lot in common. We both love England. We both love aviation.
does.
Love that.
He does his own
Isn't it
stunts,
lovely?
doesn't he?
He looks amazing, doesn't he?
He looks great.
Looks amazing.
Now, listen, before we
Wait,
leave...
this is the big story.
This is the big
This is the
We
big
should have
story.
led with it.
This is
this
for you.
story, Derm?
This is for you, Alison.
Brummies come top for loving outdoor sex.
Yes.
So, Brummies top of the list for having outdoor sex, and 8 out of 10 claims to have a romp outdoors. A poll of 2,000 people found 60% of us nationwide like to get jiggy outside, but the people of Birmingham were found to enjoy alfresco frolics the most, and 82%. Alison, do you go down to the woods today?
No.
She's got that lovely forest in the back of her house.
So Brummies are more likely to be doing it outside.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. Well, you're-
82%, forgive me, 82% of Brummie people,
my goodness.
Birmingham people, compared with in Edinburgh, 40%, because it's much colder up there. So 40% of the Edinburgh people are having sex
No,
outdoors.
but geography doesn't affect this list because Newcastle's second.
Ah, yes, but they party.
That's cold
they
too.
party in
Yeah,
Newcastle.
make some tough stuff up there.
It's because we all live with our parents. We've got nowhere to go. Well, that was a lovely news review.
Well,
Thank you,
look,
guys.
I've got to
I'm
say,
coming off this subject.
Brummies are the best at everything,
Exactly.
including alfresco sex.
Well, you're from the Midlands, aren't you?
I mean, I was born there.
Yeah, I bet
if
you're
that
outside all the
counts.
time,
Me
ain't you?
too, they never
Forgive
stop.
me, we don't need
I
to know where
co-sleep,
you...
so we gotta
know
get
you were born
creative.
there. It's the conception we were talking about. You were conceived there as well, if the figures here are right.
Maybe outdoors, I'll find out.
Thank you.
Giles, Kate, thank you so
Giles.
much.
Thank you.
All right.